Hello and welcome to our podcast, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm Lauren. And I'm Michelle. And we're so excited you stopped by for a visit. Come on in. Yeah, make yourself at home. We're two Midwestern sisters who love a good old-fashioned conversation and enjoy sharing our life experiences with one another and you. Consider this your one-stop shop for cozy, mindful well-being, along with some entertainment and lots of wheezy laughing. Oh, you bet there'll be a lot of that going around. Our goal is to live our coziest life and inspire you to do the same because the truth is, we think it's good for your mind and your body. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, let's get cozy. Hi there, ho there, and welcome to Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I am your host, Lauren, and I'm being joined by my sister from the same mister, Michelle.
Howdy ho.
What was his name on
Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky. He was a turd.
Yeah, he was he wasn't a floater. He kind of hopped around. Actually, he might have floated. Maybe he was a sinker.
He probably floated, which is why he can hop around because he never went to the bottom.
Howdy ho. And then he'd pop out of the toilet. I can't. Last night, it was a couple nights ago. I was sat down and he had Family Guy or something on, and I sat there and I was like, I watched about 5 minutes and I go, this is the stupidest shit I have ever seen in my life. And he laughed so hard when I said that, and then he threw me the remote, and we went to something that caused
Back in the day,
anxiety.
I would laugh and watch Family Guy, but yeah, I'm not into that
No,
anymore.
I'm not into it either. Not into it either.
All right, listener, thank you for joining us today. We have a great episode. We're talking pickleball. I'm going to fill you guys in on my first and last time in Vegas. And then our hot topic is resting. And we're going more than just resting into this conversation. We're going to talk about why it's good for you and why you should do it, even when you think you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you've done enough.
Why? You deserve it.
Yep.
And then, of course, what we're reading and watching and listening to, and what we're both doing for our own cozy, mindful well-being. You guys save the date on July 18th. We will be at the New Lenox Curaleaf for our Asking for a Friend event. Tickets are free, and we will have the link for you in next week's podcast episode. Also, be sure to follow us at the Sister Proj, and you'll be seeing it there as well. And sign up for our newsletter, because that is where you get access to all of the information. First come, first serve. Plus, like last week, I shared all of my favorite summer must-haves. So you're getting a lot more than you're even thinking you're getting. And then, Michelle, you and the pigs have a gig coming up.
Yes, we're playing this Friday, which will be tomorrow at the Gathering on the Green event in Western Springs, just under the tower from 8 to 10. But come early, bring a spray bottle to spritz yourself, because it's going to be a balmy 95 degrees. I'll be naked on stage.
Well, now the Gathering on the Green is going to be the
so
Gathering at Western Springs.
Not sexy, just hotter than hell.
Hotter than hell.
Well, but they have food booths. I think the town comes out. They do their thing. There's beer trucks and
bring a hand fan,
what have you. Yeah.
Bring your hand fan, because it is the most functional accessory. Shield you from the sun, but also give you a couple wafts when you need one. And if you toot or want to talk about someone, you just hold up that fan and use it then and there too. All right, you guys, we hope you enjoy our episode today. We've got some reviews that we're saving for next week. But listen, if you haven't written your review, this is your reminder. And it's a firm one. Write that fucking review. Just do it. I don't know what's taking you so long. I know
it's not that hard, honestly. It's simple.
You know what? When you're resting later, maybe we ask you to take out your device
and do that.
And
it's
write
not a ton of
review.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Lauren.
If you like our podcast, you better write a review. You know who you are. All right, you guys, enjoy the podcast today. I have my first show and tell for you.
What is it?
I have found the perfect coral lip for me for an everyday wear. I was inspired by Beyonce. We had this really poppy coral. And I'm like, I want that, but not for every day necessarily. So the girl at the Charlotte Tilbury, right? She helped me. She was super helpful, but then not helpful at all. If you ever across one of those, she was helping me, but she was so uninterested. It was kind of funny.
No, why is she trying to sell things?
I don't know. It was so odd, but anyways, it doesn't matter, because you know what? She was super duper helpful enough that she helped me find my my new lip gloss. It's called Bitch Perfect. And it doesn't look like...
And it's a lip gloss, but it's in a stick.
I'm sorry, it's a lipstick.
Oh, yeah. I'm already in love.
Right?
Yeah. And that's the Charlotte. That's the Charlotte. Oh, what? That looks...
It's just perfect.
It's like kind of a nude-ish.
It's a nude coral that gives you the pop, but gives you that comfort of a nude if you're in the nude lipstick wearing family, which I am.
Not in the nude. You can be in the nude, but if you're into nude lipstick as well, this is hitting.
This is hitting and it slaps. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see, but if you're not, again, it's called Bitch Perfect. And it is like the perfect summer color.
That looks great on you.
Thank you.
And I feel like I could rock that as well.
I'll bring it. You can try it later.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So Michelle, I just got back a few days ago from my first trip ever to Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City.
41 years it took you to get there?
I evaded it for 41 years and now I know why.
Yeah. Yep. First and last for you, huh?
Yeah.
Minus the fun.
So we went for Anthony's family reunion and it was so much fun. There must have been like 50 plus people there. And there's, tons of cousins.
Where is everybody from? Like how many, where were we driving
coming in
from?
From Oregon. We're coming in from Arizona, mostly Oregon, Arizona. There were some people that used to live in California, but now they're up north.
Is anyone from Oregon? Or
I was playing around with saying it that way, Oregon, but I'm pretty sure it's just straight up Oregon. So shout out to my cousin Gina and her fiance, Vanessa. They're listeners, and I just love them dearly.
Hey,
it was great to see them.
Was there anyone there that you had never met before?
No, I know everybody.
Okay.
Because we had a family reunion. Family reunions are fun. I feel like, I don't know, I think we've had a family reunion once in our life 1,000 years ago. And I don't know. I was like, I don't know if I need to do that again.
You probably remember the later family reunions. We definitely had more than one. I remember swimming in a gross lake somewhere in Southern Illinois.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this was...
Vegas brought it a little bit more.
Yeah. And it was just so fun. But what I wanted... it was my first time in Vegas. And until another amazing show comes to the Sphere, it will be my last time in Vegas. Okay, so I just need to tell you a story at one point. So let me just tell you, first of all, my sister-in-law and my cousin-in-law saved a young girl's life. Okay, so you guys, so for listeners listening, it's the snorkel mask. It's the full frontal face snorkel mask.
This thing suctions your whole face.
It's basically like the goggle, but it's the whole face, which I don't even understand how that would be comfortable. And the snorkel mechanism, it's like at the top part of your front of your head. Yeah. The crown of the head. It's just doesn't seem safe. It's not safe. I can confirm. Candace and Tasia brought a young girl back to life. She had no pulse after they pulled her out of the pool. And, she was white, her lips were purple, and Candace and Tasia took initiative and performed CPR and the pumps, what do you call them?
The compressions.
And so they saved her life. So that was incredible. But
they saved her life with compressions. Did they do mouth to mouth?
Mouth to mouth. Candace was doing the mouth to mouth. So literally, they're nurses, they're heroes. They really didn't take it. They just went right into action. So bravo to both of them. Yeah. But I was with Candace later, I think that day or the next day. And now I'm going to start laughing because of what happened next. Candace's nurse skills, I thought were going to have to come into play again because as we're walking
Poor Candace. Such a relaxing vacation. Just out there saving lives left and right.
Oh my God. So we're walking the strip. She has like her almost 1-year-old. I have my almost 2-year-old. Luna doesn't want to be carried. She wants to walk. She wants to climb the steps. And it was just like chaos. We're with toddlers basically, but it was fun and it was funny and it was stressful, but whatever. And then my little group, so it's Candace and her husband and baby and Anthony are like a couple feet ahead of me. When Luna's like walking around trying to do her own thing. So I'm trying to wrangle her in. But as I look up, I see like two people like legit gonna go at it with one physically gonna go at it. And I just was so unaware.
Like
you'll see. Kind of like old fashioned, boxing where you bring, yes.
Put them up.
Okay. So
I look up and I see a guy like staying like, get the fuck away from, you just see a lot of energy. And so I'm like, oh my God. So I grab Luna and I pick her up because I see danger afoot. And all of a sudden, as I turn around, all I hear is like a.
Did he knock him out in one punch?
Michelle, I turn around and so these were like kind of like transient homeless individuals. One person had like a bike with a big cart. I was probably his home. Yeah. And the other person, I think there were 3 people involved. It was a quick moment. And then the other man that I'm going to tell you about that made the sound, he had what I was calling a small lead pipe. And
did the guy die?
Bebopped the other man on the head so hard it made that noise. And then the other guy who's trying to steal the other guy's bike. So that's why he got clunked.
Just right there. I'm going to take it from you. Give it to me. No, it's mine. No, but I'm going to take it. Okay, got it. You painted a good picture.
This man he was bleeding. He was alert. He was still.
He got hit with a lead pipe.
He's fine. He's probably he's probably been suffering a migraine.
Mm-hmm.
Candace is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I am done. I'm like, Candace.
Did she have to help him?
No, he was fine. He was.
You know what? Sometimes we have to.
It's not like he was on the ground. I would have been like, we have to call 911. He was walking around holding his head.
Totally. Okay, fine. It wasn't like a lights out situation. It was a reminder to stay away. It was a warning smack.
That's what the guy. I think he was like, I'm going to clunk you. And he clunked him once, made the sound.
I have to say, if I'm living on the streets in Vegas and I'm, don't have a lot of cash to get myself a weapon, I feel like a lead pipe is a good alternative to protecting yourself.
You know what? One of the reasons why I'm just never going back. I'm done. I did it. I'm good. It was, the reunion was fantastic. We had such a good time, but Vegas is not for me. It's just not my vibe.
Same.
There's a very adult Disney World feeling. It's like there's a castle. It's called Excalibur, and it's a fucking Eureka's castle. It looks like something that's on a strip mall down the street. In the middle of the suburbs on the far, north, west side, west suburbs. And it's just, it doesn't do it for me. Also, I will say though, it was really fun. I did check off like a small bucket list, seeing the, I think it's Chalui glass in the Bellagio on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Tell me about this. Don't know what that is. Why is that cool?
It's just these really ornate, almost flower-like blown glass that are all over the ceiling. And I've seen this artist's work before in Seattle. He's a glass artist. It's phenomenal.
Glass blowing is so cool.
I'm so into it.
It's speaking
of lead pipes,
they blow that is it molten? Like what is glass? Molten sand? Heated? I don't know, but all I know is it's one of the most calming things to watch.
It really, and it's beautiful. It's like a ballet when you're watching them like kind of play around with it.
It's like hot pottery. You could really burn the fuck out of yourself doing it.
So it was kind of like that. Like I saw that and I've always seen photos. I'm like, if I ever go to Vegas, I definitely want to see that. So I checked that off the list, which was really fun to see and, have that travel experience for a moment. And it was cool. Like it wasn't disappointing. It was pretty neat. We got spritzes with the kids and with the toddlers and my Candace and her husband and Anthony and just walked around like the Bellagio. It was cool.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I never ever have to go back. But I will tell you that we went to the Sphere. And if anyone ever has the opportunity to go to, that is the only thing that will bring me back.
You've literally sold me. I'm going.
So you walk into the Sphere and it was a moment, you didn't even have to be on anything. You felt like you were on mushrooms just by watching.
Like nothing you've ever seen before. Yeah.
Nothing I'd ever seen before. It is like IMAX on steroids, which if you've seen IMAX, but it's just, and then you've got a live band playing. John Mayer.
So they're down below.
Yes, they're
on the stage. With this whole thing is illuminated. Like this entire thing's a screen.
Michelle, it was fantastic. Badass. Yeah. So one of the cool, I cried as I was watching. We walked in. I noticed there was like a tear coming down like the side of my eye.
Of course there was.
I
would be taken by I know that you're all focused on the Sphere and all this stuff. For me, I just need you to talk to me a little bit about John Mayer and his facial expressions. Did that take your attention off of the visuals? Because for me, I'd be struggling to enjoy the Sphere if that guy's on stage. I'd be staring at him.
I could see why Anthony was taken by it. He makes
Why? What did he say?
he's like, wow. He basically was like, oh my God, his face he's like, it's a
unbelievable.
lot. But it's like his eyes kind of roll back in the back of his head. His eyelids twitch a little bit. He's like really, I mean,
like, is he channeling the guitar?
Physical.
Is he channeling or is he doing that on purpose? Like, I need to know if he knows what's happening to his face.
I don't know. And for me, it doesn't bother me. I'm into it because he's so into it. So I'm like
wildly talented.
Unbelievable. And then seeing, I think Bobby Weir, he was one of the originals.
Yep.
And I'm just setting something, sorry. He, seeing this old timer at 10:30 still rocking. And we're like, should we leave early to beat the crowd? That's my dad and me saying like, leave early, beat the crowd. I'm like, and then, my sister-in-law, Rena's like, I'm good. We're not, why? And I'm like, right.
Where do you have to go? Where do you have to go?
Where do we have to go? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
That is an anxiety. I'm not doing that again. Like that, especially for something like this. If it's like fireworks, but for the Grateful Dead,
like a once in a lifetime.
Probably never going to see them again.
Yeah.
Which
Stay
the
way, for the encore.
By the way, our Uncle Ben, who is the percussionist for Modest Mouse, shout out to Uncle Ben. He's a badass. I've seen him do some really cool things on stage.
With some crazy shit too.
OG Deadhead. I chatted with him. He's seen at least, if not more, 30 shows of the Dead, if not, but not 50. That's what he said.
Okay.
That
Holy
was
crap.
cool.
So did he travel? Did he say like he went to different places across the country to see them or just over the years?
He has. I mean, he's traveling right now on tour with Modest Mouse, so we didn't have much time to chat, but he legit, he's that. And I remember seeing our Uncle Ben with
his tank,
shirt
with the bears,
on. His,
like,
100 freaking tie-dye.
Yep.
Old school. And I'm like, that is so cool.
I actually have a vision of Uncle Ben when we were in Lake Geneva, like chilling on the grassy knoll by the little like beach that we used to play at, just lounging in that Deadhead shirt. It may have been a couple of days, 3-4 weeks since it had been washed.
Yeah, no worries.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? And I don't know. It could be clean as a whistle, but that thing was a vibe, man.
Speaking of vibes, one of the best parts of going to a Dead show. So we were up in seats and there was a floor, a GA, and watching the people who are really into it probably did a couple hippie flips,
Yep. What's a hippie flip?
I don't know. I think it's mushrooms followed by cocaine or cocaine followed by, I know there's like a flipping going from like an upper to a psych out.
Whoa,
like a psychedelic.
Okay.
So that's a hippie flip.
All right. Oh, a hippie flip. Got it. I thought you were talking about doing some sort of a dance move on the floor.
No, I'm thinking like they were totally infused and you can just watch them. And it was bless.
Yeah.
I'm here like that.
Hell
they had an experience, but it was super fun. And that is what will bring me back. Now, Michelle, you have here in your notes that now I'm a deadhead, right? So I'm a deadhead full on. And now you're a picklehead. What do we call you? A pickler?
Yeah, a picklehead. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. I'm fucking obsessed with pickle. And so is my entire family.
Amazing.
No.
You're picklehead.
It is literally, I've signed up. I have an app that's, I believe, called Picklehead.
I think I just saw that.
Yep. Yeah. I'm on an app. I'm following courts.
What's on the app? What are we looking at on the app?
It's a social app. Listen, it's a social app for people, for like-minded, pickle-obsessed people.
For pickleheads.
If you want to drop your location, you're traveling, and you want to bust out a quick game of pickle, you get on your app, find out a local court that's public, what their hours are.
That's cool.
If people are looking to have a pick-up-pickle game, Peter Piper picked a pickle pepper games, you can go ahead and get on the app and find out where it is. Well, now have you noticed in our TikTok, it's all pickle.
It's all pickle.
I'm learning
Michelle has
technique.
gone from Civil War to
Vikings.
pickleheads. Thank God.
Vikings is done.
Vikings, Civil War. And so because of Michelle is really how our algorithm changes on TikTok. Because I don't really punch anything in, although sometimes, but like I just kind of go along with what I'm seeing. And it was, for quite some time, Vikings. And then it was the Civil War on U.S. soil.
Yes.
That was a real downer. That was a real World War III.
Well, I was stucking my thumb in the corner calling you and asking you if you could
Michelle's like, hey,
that.
So is Russia coming after us? I'm like, you know what? I'm on low alert right now. I'm on Vegas time.
But Lauren, I have to give you like that. What you see with me in my hyper focus, that is an ADHD tendency. I
thought ADHD was like going from like things quicker though.
Well, flipping from one thing to another, I would say is one of the negative characteristics of ADHD it's like the example of having too many tabs open.
Sure.
But see, and so attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, such a negative word, such a negative connotation to explain what I view as an absolute fucking superpower. So the hyper focus is for us ADHDers, which is why so imperative that we find passions, and our passions are always changing, because once we're locked in, it's unfucking breakable. And that's where I am with Pickle right now. I'm learning about it. I'm
like
thinking about it.
Now you're on your pickleball.
That's my current hyper focus. But I will say,
I think it's great.
This is why I love it. First of all, the community, it's a community sport. And when you go to these places, everybody is friendly and they want to join in, or maybe there's an asshole that's like the big dick that wants to beat the shit out of everybody and get rid of him. But there's a community aspect to it. It's just this, like, everybody, it's like a pick up and go. My family, like, I have twin 15-year-olds. At any time, they're like, you want to play pickle?
Wow.
We grab our paddles and we go. We usually leave in a family fight, but it's short-winded. And then we get home, we have some food, hydrate again, and we're good to go. I'm obsessed.
I have a question. I know pickleball's been kind of like all the rage for some time now. What took you to now to get into it? Not that you're behind. I'm just wondering what was the impetus behind.
I was seeing how much fun Mia was having, and I was like, I'm like, hang on a sec. And also, I was curious to, I don't like running. I've hung up the running shoes. I like to be more active. I would prefer to go play pickle than have like an alcoholic beverage if I had two options. So to be able to just have this as an option to move my body, that's super fun, get your heart rate up, and also is like social. It like checks all the boxes. Yeah.
I'm going to have to come out and pick up a pickleball game with you. You have mentioned here that Aldi is a great spot for rackets and balls. I mean, $30.
Yeah, if you're a beginner and you don't care about having the nicest, fanciest paddle, the rackets at Aldi are $20, and you can get a pack of balls for $10. And $30 out the door.
Yesterday, Michelle and I were talking here in the Midwest, and if you're watching the news, I'm a Today Show gal. So in the morning, while we kind of get acclimated, I throw that on.
They're really not showing a lot on the subs, though. I've noticed. I'm not.
What subs?
The submarines.
Oh, the Russian subs. Yeah, maybe who knows? The media is always playing with us, so who knows?
Yep.
Maybe they're keeping that on the DL, and they're talking instead about the Earth warming and how we are reaching temperatures that haven't been seen. So, for instance, in Pittsburgh, they're going to reach a temperature. I don't remember if it was 90 or 100. Hasn't been reached in 130 years. Wildfires. I mean, it's really. It's not uplifting news stories that we're seeing. It's definitely
so they're choosing to
remind us. Warm for June for us. Let's be honest. It's warm. It's almost, we're getting like almost a high 90s, maybe 100 degrees, high 90s. And in June in Chicago, that's pretty hot. We usually get those temps later in July and in August. That's when our hot temperatures really kind of maximize.
I feel like June, July. I don't know. I feel like it's been hotter earlier, longer for longer.
I don't know. I feel like it's a little early. In any case,
it's hot.
It's hot as balls. And, we spend a lot of time outside. Michelle's playing pickleball. I'm going on walks with Luna and going to the park. And so I did and I told Michelle about it. Old Navy has excellent sports shorts. Michelle's wearing a pair right now. Oh, so you got a different pair than me. So you have one with with a drawstring. Those are super freaking cute.
And I also got pockets and this cute tank. Great for pickleballs, guys.
You guys, Michelle, those are adorable. We should link some. Let me write this down, you guys. I got to link this.
Lauren, I have to say, like, after you texted me, like, price match.
I've talked about it.
Yeah. Well, I've never done it.
Price match from the website because it's always cheaper on the website than in the store. So if you get your things, you can look them up and price match it. Pro tip, get the Old Navy app and you can just scan it. The barcode. But yeah, Old Navy has awesome
elevated active wear.
And for someone who's been wearing their yoga pants for years, I have a couple pair of their yoga pants that I've had for years, have never torn. They wash well. They don't stink. They're their sports stuff is not bad for the price.
Oh my God. No, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I was contemplating going to Viore to go pick up essentially the exact $65 on these shorts that were $24.99. So I bought 2 pair and they
They're
feel
cute.
like good quality, you know, like if it felt like it would snag really quick or whatever, I would have, not doing it. But
I was a thick weight, a thick band, high-waisted, which is my fupa.
Oh my God, holds that soft lower abdomen in. I can't. What's happened?
It's beautiful. It's okay. It's nothing. It's just your body.
I know it is, but it still bugs me.
Yeah, I get it. That's why you have a very thick band that's sucking
and holds it in
right
and
now.
It is with a nice control top bucket underneath.
I wear control top underwear. Mm-hmm. I can't wear a dress if I know I want everything to be kind of like a little bit.
And not suffocating.
I think the kids say snatch. I don't know. Snatched a little bit.
Now that means tightened up.
Face, body,
snatched. Okay. See, look at you. You've got just about a 2-year-old, and now you're teaching me the lingo.
I mean, listen.
Wait till Luna starts saying, bussin'.
She's gonna be like speaking in robot language by the time she's a teenager. I feel like we're gonna be in like a different lifetime. Okay.
Yep.
We've got a couple hot topics here. So I'm so excited. Dad saves me the New York Times every Sunday, and he passes them on, and I have been getting just nuggets of just knowledge, good vibes. That is a very cozy thing for me to do, is to read the New York Times. And I found a fun fact, everyone. This is a fun fact, but it's actually not funny, and it's very eye-opening. Globally, so these are in the fast facts section of the New York Times. Globally, the number of lives lost to alcohol is about 3 million a year. That's about 4 times more than the number of women who die of breast cancer every year. And just to kind of put into perspective, I kind of feel like we get scared more about breast cancer than alcohol-related deaths. Like you hear more, go get your mammogram, not stop drinking.
Stop drinking
very
alcohol.
Fucking bad for you.
It's like, I don't understand why that's not the headliner. It seems like that information is trickling in, or you have to be looking for it a little bit.
Or just be mindful
but it's
of like
not.
How it feels when you're drinking, and think about the kind, like cans seltzers. Those have been out of my vibe for so long. There's something about chugging, and it's no judgment, you guys. This is just a personal thing. It's just the kid. What the fuck's in that? What is in a White Claw?
Something that gives me extreme gas.
Bad gas. So, inspired by this, I thought I would tell you guys the edible of my choice during the Dead concert, which I feel like, I could have had psilocybin if I wanted it. By the way, a beer at the Sphere costs you, one beer, a Pacifico, $22.
Are you kidding?
For a souvenir cup beer. And that's the only option. You don't get to get the non-souvenir cup. So now if you have 4 beers, you've got 4 of these hard plastic dumb cups. And now you better believe I took that cup home with me.
And you're paying $100+ to feel like complete ass the next day.
Exactly. And you've already dropped a couple $100 on the tickets. So it's an expensive night. But that wasn't why I wasn't drinking. I just don't drink that much anymore. Anthony and I split that beer. And let me tell you something. I took half of a Lost Farm live resin Durban poison. And it was the energy I needed. It was the vibe I needed. It brought all of the good vibes that you want at a concert without feeling shitty or bloated the next day.
Good night's sleep. That's the other thing. Good night's sleep. You're going out, you're being totally stimulated, having that versus alcohol. Nah. And people are looking at you going, I'll have what she's having, because you're having the best time ever.
The good vibe. This is the good vibe edible. Durban poison. They are 10 milligram each. So you're basically going to double the length of this package by taking half, because that's all I take, 5 milligrams. Bite into half, pass it to a friend. That's what we did. And it was the best.
And that bag of edibles costs what? $25, $30?
Yeah. And with our discount code at Curaleaf, Sister 30% off. So now it costs you less than $25.
Boom and boom. Boom and boom.
One of the headlines making waves last week was Princess Kate Middleton's, her appearance at the King's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that what was more profound than seeing her was her message that she had shared on Instagram about where she is in her treatment of cancer. And yet they have not disclosed, nor do they have to, what type of cancer it is, but she is opening up that she's receiving chemotherapy. And
that she's not out of the woods yet.
She's not. She is talking about how this is still a fight and she's still battling this cancer. So I thought I would share a little bit and what they were talking about too in the news, and I found here myself, I've never heard her write from this perspective before. I feel like she's being very vulnerable and very open. She talks about, and relatable also, by the way. So we're talking about someone who you feel like you have nothing in common with, and then terribly she is ill with cancer. And there's people out there who are probably like, oh my gosh, I can tell, I know what she's going through. You probably can't say that a lot about her in general, but when it comes to that, or even motherhood, whatever.
It's like really, really horribly sad and unfortunate that that's what she's been dealing with, but it's like might be the most relatable connector to everybody in the world.
And she writes, my treatment is ongoing and will be for a few more months. On the days I feel well enough, it is a joy to engage with school life, spend personal time on things that give me energy and positivity, as well as starting to do a little work from home. But she also talks about there are good days and there are bad days. On those bad days, you feel weak, tired, and you've got to give your body resting. But on the good days, when you feel stronger, you want to make the most of feeling well. And it makes me emotional reading this because it's like this poor woman who shared with the world she had cancer. You had these jack-offs who were like, oh my God, her husband's boning the nanny. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this world that you can't even tell and make an announcement that you have cancer, that we are so twisted and we are so hungry for growth and numbers and social media views that we will create lies about someone just for attention. And this woman here is actually fighting cancer. It just really pisses me off about the state of the world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the internet is basically it's a horrible place. And it's 95% horrible people. I mean, seriously, read the comments. Totally right. Read the comments on that post. I mean, there were many, 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 many lovely, kind, supportive.
Were there weirdos?
Oh, horrible. Disgusting. Accusing someone else of writing the post. I'm like, you know what? Honestly, jump off a bridge.
Get a life.
Jump off a bridge.
Or don't, according to you. She writes, she goes on, I am learning how to be patient, especially with uncertainty. And that's a really hard thing to grapple with, as I've shared in my therapy and whatnot. I'm taking each day as it comes, listening to my body and allowing myself to take this much needed time to heal. Thank you for your continued understanding. So it was really lovely, relatable, and nice of her to share that. I mean, she didn't have to do that. But she did so a day or so before making an appearance at the King's birthday parade. And I just have to say, I am a huge follower of fashion, of royal fashion and all of the pomp and circumstance. And I, again, am blown away by her fashion. She is just one of the best dressed women in the world. I mean, she has all the money in the world to look this way, and that's wonderful. But just the way the Brits and the royals, their hats and fascinators, it gives me life. I'm bummed that we don't have that. And what is it? Debate? No, what am I talking about? The bidets.
Oh, I was like a debate. I'm like, I usually am good.
Bidet.
I was like a toupee.
No, not a toupee. I'm bummed that we don't have fascinators and bidets in our country. I feel like we really lost out on those things.
No, we don't. We don't have that. We have bad attitudes and giant jerks. Now, while you're looking at her outfits, here's me. I'm looking at the youngest. Okay, and he's dancing, and he's doing like that. Kid is. He's my spirit animal. I'm watching him, he's resetting. Okay. Like this he's like doing these head bobs. I'm like, this kid has so much energy. It's so hard for him to stand till he's totally engaged. He's into it, but God damn it, does he need to move? Hilarious.
He's so cute. He always brings it to all the events. And I've enjoyed also seeing video footage of Princess Kate kind of like have to mother when he like does like the shh to her and puts his finger in her mouth.
Well, and his sister, she's a second mom too. She's always
pinching him like underneath.
Stand straight.
Now in support of this conversation about Princess Kate, Michelle, you contributed some content.
Finally, I've done something.
Thank you. Michelle sent this amazing article by Time. And it was so on brand. And then I was reading about Kate. I'm like, this just goes so well together. It's the Time magazine. They put out an article called The Health Benefits of Relaxation. Unproductive moments can boost health and happiness. And they specifically talk about how here in the States, we have been brainwashed to believe that if you are doing nothing, whether it's for 10 minutes or 2 hours, that you're a big
loser.
Fat loser.
Toxic grind culture. Keep on keeping on.
That rat race, climb that ladder.
I had
Don't stop until you're dead.
Reconstruct my brain to embrace the other way of living.
Yeah, and these are professors and researchers of psychology coming out of the University of Florida and Harvard. So we've got some smart people looking at the benefits of relaxing and also the downfall of too much stress. And as we know, we've talked about it, but I don't think we learned this until later in life, that mental health problems like anxiety and stress or overloads are actually bad for then your physical health. And we never really got that message until later. It was like, oh, if you might have anxiety, but that actually can trickle down elsewhere.
I know. It's like, no, your head is actually attached to your neck. Like it's not like a separate piece. It's like all connected.
And it's connected, and then your heart's involved, and then all that other stuff. So they are going on and talking about how it's actually so important to find time to, and they write, do nothing. They talked about how at certain points you might find yourself, whether you're on a week-long beach vacation, you've splurged for a massage, or you're deciding to just take 5 and sit outside and enjoy the birds and maybe pick up a book, that if you are the type of person who struggles doing that, like you're just checking your email, you're nervous about coming back from work because work's going to be on your ass. They give us some tips on how to still do this idea of doing nothing and relaxation, but with some perimeters perhaps. And one of them was boundaries, setting boundaries, like knowing your work hours, writing them down, putting it on a Post-it. I work 7 to 3. And then when that's done, I'm done. Like 3 o'clock afterwards, I'm done working. And they talk about what Michelle and I have learned and talked about. Colleen Hoover, yes, the New York Times bestselling author, she was on our podcast. I forget the number of which one, but we had her as a guest, and she talked about that. She talked about, if I don't get something done, no one's going to die.
No one's going to die.
She's like, I'll get to it tomorrow. And I really found that fascinating from someone who whips books out every other day.
I mean,
when does she do nothing?
I think that conversation changed me, because I was looking at somebody who is like the reigning queen of book talk and the New York Times bestselling list. And she is saying, if my manuscript or whatever doesn't make it to the publisher, we're going to all be okay. And I'm like,
she literally was like, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mind blowing.
Yeah. Again, people that have different types of jobs, like doctors or, doulas who are going to be ready for birth, have to be on call and ready. But this is, this article is meant for everyone in different ways. And they also talk about reframing what counts as rest. Like the idea of meditating, like I love just laying down and meditating, and the thoughts creep in, but then that's the part of practice where you just reset with a breath and then just let that thought float away and then just keep going with where you're at. And that could be hard. And it is hard.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me.
So what these researchers from Harvard Medical School found was that you can integrate an activity of when you're resting. So maybe it's gardening, maybe it's walking around your garden, picking things, pruning things that need be, of course, without your phone nearby. We're talking like resting, an active rest, if you will. Knitting. Maybe it's knitting.
Over the weekend, I made homemade pesto. And in years past, I had been using a food processor and taking like the easy way out. And I thought to myself, I have this beautiful mortar and pestle that Dad and Debbie with a Y gave me. And so I decided to pull that over off the counter and put it to use. And I hand ground my entire pesto recipe it was the single most relaxing, meditative, resting, active resting activity. And those are the kinds of things. My phone wasn't there. I was using my hands. I was focused on this thing. It wasn't something that could be rushed. It required like a slow, consistent motion. And it took like a good 20 minutes to really
grind it down,
to get it to the consistency that I wanted. And I felt so relaxed when I was done.
And that is the art of resting, like an active rest.
Yes.
They also, other tips that we are reading here in this Time magazine is remember that your body needs relaxation too. And we're talking like, and something I always teach in yoga, when we're in certain postures, I'll be like, okay, now soften your shoulders. And you will see people's shoulders go from like earlobe height back down to where they belong. Because again, we are on devices, our muscles, our traps are activated, we're hunching. So we kind of live in this weird, like new modern version of our human body. And we have to like realign, draw. I mean, like, listen, for those who are listening, I encourage you right now, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop your shoulders down. And and straighten your posture. You will find length, and it's easier to breathe when your body's relaxed.
Yeah. I notice that my jaw sometimes is tense, where I have to literally, even when I'm laying in bed, like starting to fall asleep, I'm like, oh my God, relax your jaw. Like take the tongue, like just let it all go.
Take the tongue. So 100%. And that's something else I'll teach. Like when it comes to the facial features, we lock our jaw, we get like tense.
That's me.
Our tongue sticks to the roof of the mouth and the teeth are closed. So in Shavasana, I'll be like, open your mouth wide, stretch your whole, listener, open your mouth, stretch it out. You can stick your tongue out, squish your nose. And then when you're breathing or when you're sitting and working, drop the shoulders, relax the jaw, and drop the tongue from the roof of your mouth. And I would almost even invite you to almost like find a little pursed lip and still breathe in out through your nose, but soften the bottom portion of your face. Because we hold so much tension there. Other suggestions is if you're really struggling to find relaxation, maybe seek some therapy. Get some ideas on how to like talk through what is keeping you from your body relaxing and what's keeping you from being able to dive into 5 minutes of like really doing nothing. And then they talk about, of course, starting small, then practice.
I love that.
Don't dive deep into like an hour-long meditation or a week-long beach vacation. They talk about little things, like pick moments strategically, choosing those when you're most likely to succeed. Like during your morning shower is one. We've talked about that here. You can't have your phone in your shower, although I've been known to sneak it in if I've got to work on something. Like if I'm like trying to get something done, Luna's got like, I've got 5 seconds to, do it all. Take that time in the shower to chill and relax. This is a great article, you guys. I'm going to link it. I highly encourage you to read it and then share it if you have someone in your life that doesn't fucking stop.
That's what I was just wanting to bring up. Like, I know people, and I know we all know people that it is, whether they can't, they don't know how. It's just they're so hardwired to be going. I want to challenge those folks, especially, and everybody. It shouldn't be a challenge, but like, this is an opportunity for, just for you to be super aware of yourself in your day-to-day moving forward. And when you notice, like, for example, yesterday, I had worked my day. I had done my kid carpool. I had a window before the kids needed to go places and I needed to go play with the pigs. And I went and sat down at on my couch and I watched a partial episode of a show that I've been watching. And I am willing to bet that a lot of people don't do that. They would never see that time. Like, I think that we need to kind of switch, because I know moms do this, like for me personally, sometimes I like to stay up a little bit later, because I feel like that's when I get to catalog my rest, my slowness, my doing nothing. But I think that if we implement that kind of activity of doing less and making it part of your regimen, you wouldn't feel like you were needing it so much later because you were filling that bucket during the day.
Fill it in, bring it in during the day.
Yes.
So that you're not staying up till midnight, jeopardizing your sleep in order to get that rest. You're absolutely correct. And what they're talking about here in this article that you're basically touching on is the guilt. The guilt, how can I sit and do nothing because you've done so much. That's why you can, because you have up until that point have done a ton.
And that's another thing. And it's that sort of mindset flip of the script. When you find yourself, again, pay attention to your thoughts and what you're saying when you're kind of having that internal argument
and overwhelmed.
Yeah, remind yourself you've done a shitload. You've literally fed the mouths of everyone in your family. You've the invisible load that nobody can see. You've checked everything off the list. You're good to go. It's okay.
We need to find a little bit more dolce far niente in our life. And that is the Italian saying of the sweetness of doing nothing. And if you take a little stroll down to Little Italy, Chicago, you will still see some people. I got a guy on the block that if it's a nice day, he brings out his folding chair and he sits and puts his legs up and literally does nothing. He's not on his phone. He's not reading a book. He's just sitting. And now if you're lucky enough to get over to Italy, you will see many people doing the sweetness of nothing and enjoying their fucking life.
Yeah.
I wonder what their blood pressure stats are like out there.
Bottom low, because they're drinking olive oil and doing nothing.
All right, moving on to reading, watching, and listening to. I have nothing to report in the reading section. Same with Michelle, but we are watching 2 really good shows.
Yep.
I'll kick it off real quick with, if you remember the 2013 murder of Rivas, I believe that's how you say her name. She was a up and coming actress and model, and also the girlfriend of Oscar Pistorius, who was known as the Blade Runner. He was a gold medal Paralympian. He was exceptionally fast. I mean, blew away his components. I mean, I couldn't believe. So
not his components. He didn't blow away his components.
What did I say? His opponents.
Yep.
He
did have components sort
Thank
of
you for being
on
here.
His legs. That's what I'm here for.
He did his blades. He had those were his components, and with those he blew away his opponents.
Ding dong.
And he unbelievable and good looking and charismatic and kind. And he shot and killed his girlfriend. And it's a 30 for 30. So it's one of those really good in-depth looks at this sports situation. I mean, horribly tragic death of a young woman up and coming, and same with him. I mean, their lives, hers was clearly ended and his life is over. I mean, I think he's out of jail. He has spent time in jail. But this whole documentary series goes over from his birth until where we're at now in the trial and the forensics and what went into the prosecuting and then the defense. And it's a really actually heartbreaking watch on both ends. And something else I did not know about South Africa. I know there's a lot of turmoil there. I did not realize that the violence against women is horrific. Like, it is an epidemic there. They talk about it. They talk about how, so he became this poster child for violence against women. And, it was like, let's make an example out of this. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm just saying that this all played a role. This documentary, you learn a lot about the culture in South Africa. And I highly recommend it. It's really heartbreaking.
So where is he, like, working? Like, what is his life now?
I know I'm almost certain he's out of jail. I think I saw that a while ago. I don't know what his life is like right now. I can't imagine it being a good one.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to come back after you're attached to something like that.
Yeah, it's a really horrible story. And,
so they decided that this was not a crime of passion. Like,
I don't know, Michelle. I can't remember I'm not there yet. I'm only in the second episode.
Got it.
And I will tell you that you really have so much empathy for, obviously, Rivas, but also for him, because with forensic and what they've studied, they're leaning towards this might very well be a case. And again, I have not finished this. A case of he thought there was a burglar in the house. I mean, to put it into perspective, he wears prosthetics. And when he shot and killed his girlfriend, he was on his stumps. And so he had a gun and he was walking to the bathroom on his stumps. I just feel like, I don't know if I feel like that is what you do if you think there's an intruder. You don't have much time to put on your legs and, run down the hallway. You're going to go just defend with what you've got. And it's just really tragic. And it's worth the watch. I'm not trying to sympathize for a killer, but I am these are humans and their families were torn apart. It's pretty heavy, to be honest with you.
Well,
your show is just as heavy as mine?
Heavy and horrible and anxiety
we're both watching the same kind of vibe.
So if you guys are looking while you're slowing down to have an elevated BP, to maybe have a rough night's sleep and feel like your stomach hurts because of what you've just witnessed on TV, go ahead and pop Your Honor from Netflix on TV. This is with Bryan Cranston. He plays a judge. His son is driving home. He accidentally kills one of the most powerful mob bosses' son who's riding a motorcycle. It was an accidental thing.
Was it a drunk driving thing? Or
no, he was looking for his inhaler. He was having an asthma attack.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And he killed him and he left the scene. And the show, and he flipped out and he left. And the rest of the show is his father, who's Bryan Cranston's character, who's a judge, basically going and trying to fix it and cover it up. And it is,
that gives me anxiety.
No, it is. Bryan is like, he hasn't slept in the last 2 nights. It's
your husband, Ryan. I think it said Bryan first, but Ryan's not
Ryan. Ryan is like, my stomach hurts. Please, let's watch something a little lighter.
Our shows are super intense. But I've been following this case for ages and it's a heartbreaker. Now, speaking of covering up, Michelle asked me a week ago or so, what can her and Will listen to true crime wise? And I have all my series, like episodic ones.
This is such a good rec.
But this one is something I've thought, this show, it's called S-Town. It's put on by Serial Podcast. And S-Town is a podcast I listened to years ago that I've never stopped thinking about, particularly about John McLemore, who is basically the star of the show. And this is a true story. So they go down south. Where are they in? They're in S-Town, Shittown. Is it
Shittown? It's in Alabama.
Mm-hmm. And it's about a murder, about a kid that there was a murder and then someone made it go away. They made the murder disappear. Michelle, I'm not all the way through yet, so I have forgotten a lot. But what was your take on listening to the whole series now that you have it finished? And
my take is it's so well done. It's so binge worthy. The main character, the focal point of the story,
his accent
is like, he is so unique. But I think that, it's one of these stories where you kind of, you think, and you kind of you think you have an idea, but then what happens at the end is it made me, I was sad. I was sad.
I remember the ending.
And I don't want to give any of this away, but the characters are colorful. The story's so intriguing. You can't stop. But I was like mesmerized by the journalist. Yes. The guy that reported this, he came close to these people as different. And talk about
where he's coming from New York City,
different walks of life. Like, there is nothing to connect these people at all. I was captivated. I binged it.
It's so good. You guys, if you need something other than Cozy Convos to listen to, and it's more storytelling and learning about other areas of this country. He talks about how horrific it is, just how bad and shitty of a county that he comes from. And that's why he calls it S-Town, Shittown.
I think the thing that was most interesting, and you might not remember this because you are refreshing now, is, when you meet this fellow John in S-Town, you get a very colorful, sort of agitated, he calls Shittown because he thinks it's a shit town.
Yeah.
But then you learn a little bit before, this character that you meet at the beginning of S-Town, he changed a bit. Some stuff happened to him where people remembered him in a different way. And I think that was kind of the point of the whole story too, is to see the evolution of a person in a place and not knowing, like, you never know what somebody's going through and what their life looks like on the inside, and also like what's going on up here and in here.
Yeah. And I really admired his vulnerability and his kind of like humor behind his mental illnesses. He would talk about depression and the way he would just
talk it
freely. He would talk about it. Most people would be like, well, I suffer kind of from depression. He's like, wow, depressed as shit and all. And then he goes into it, like how he just decided to stop doing certain things. Great series.
Really good.
Absolutely
great recommendation. Recommendation. Wow. The words are tough for us today.
What? It's, you know what?
Late night with the
tired.
pigs.
You had a late night with the pigs, and I'm still catching up on just life in general.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that has everything to do with my cozy, mindful well-being. Like right now, I'm in a mode where I'm doing nothing except for the things that need to be done. I'm trying no extra plans
draining.
this week.
Yeah, too.
Yeah,
that's
and that alone is draining, but no extra plans. I am like really prioritizing my meditation, just maybe getting into a yoga class. I'm doing nothing except for the things that must be done.
Yeah.
And then I'm chilling because I need a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling with a toddler, it's hard. But it's once you're there and once you get over the disassociation, like when she had her meltdown on the airplane, I checked.
You left town.
Michelle.
You went to Vegas.
My sister-in-law Candace was crying. She's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, I turn inward. I literally like get a little shaky breath. I'm like, okay, I need to work on myself. Anthony takes over
because what's going through your head? Like, what's triggering you in that moment that what are you thinking when she's absolutely
at one
losing her
shit? She was
shit?
trying to pull out her hair. So I was like, and no.
So she was freaking out. So she was having a full, she
was having a meltdown because we literally started flying about an hour into the flight. It was her nap time. And she literally was like, okay, when are we going up to the bed? And when she realized that wasn't happening, she melted down.
And so did you.
But see, for me, I don't melt down. I have
to shut down.
I shut down so that I survive because this is Anthony's forte. When we're on a vessel flying, he's good with the meltdowns. Anywhere else, I got this. But I'm dealing with like knowing that people are fucking pissed off. And I have to also say to myself, who gives a fuck?
You're worried about, so you're being triggered by the possibility of bothering other people on the plane.
That's part of it. Yeah. So I just disassociate. I take myself to a faraway land and...
Fair enough.
So basically, I'm just resting. I read that Time magazine. I'm like, you know what I need? I need some rest.
Good for you. And that's okay. Wouldn't that be weird if I was like, no, you should, what are we doing here?
But I'm doing all my things. I'm just not making extras. And I'll tell you what, family reunions, as fun as they are, they're not resting. They're not restful.
It's a working trip.
Because you're seeing,
you got to be on.
You are doing it all. So this was probably the most hectic trip in a great way that we've been on with Luna, and I'm feeling tired from it. So that's where I am.
It's okay. No apologies.
Thank you. No, and how are you? What are you doing for your own cozy mindful well-being besides being a huge slut?
That and pickling. Not a pickle tickle. I'm talking about the ball.
Pickle tickles.
No.
Straight up
pickleball.
You're
anyone that wants to play, call me and let's do it. And shout out to my coach, Peggy Pagato. Went to the courts with her last week. And I didn't know while we were playing and she was whipping backhands and blasting balls at me. I was yelling, "Did you play tennis or something?" And she was like, "Yeah, in high school."
I can see that.
She, you know what? A little coaching on technique, she changed my game and just helping me along. So just in the most enriching, fun like pastime ever.
Okay, I'm deadhead, soon to be a picklehead with you.
Come, I'm here for it. We got extra paddles.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. It is a true pleasure hosting you here on the coziest space in the internet. Now, do us a favor. Take this episode and send it to your most favorite friend, sister, mother, from a different other, whatever you got, send it. And as always,
stay cozy, listener.
Thank you for joining us for today's cozy conversation. For more of the Sister Project, check us out on Instagram at The Sister Proj and our website, www.thesisterprojectblog.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and maybe even drop us a review. Until next time, stay cozy.